So here I am thinking we in the clear. We done made it several days, maybe even a week or so, without hearing anything about a plane. Then all of a sudden, I wake up to this. To this. Listen, man, you know how this goes. Question everything. You should, and remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
Like that. Oh, what happened?
It's on fire. That's scary.
Like that.
At least it landed safely. At least we could say that. I guess that's the good we could take away from this. But look, you never want to be in this type of position. You see people standing on the wing with their phones out. Like, get to safety, people. Now, is American Airlines going to pay out $30,000 per passenger? Because I'm pretty sure that's what every passenger that was aboard that plane is thinking about right now. Oh, I'm about to get 30K. See what the other plane airlines started? Everybody on there probably thinking they about to see a payday. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Orderly, orderly!
That airplane inferno sent passengers running through blinding smoke Thursday evening at Denver's airport.
Oh my gosh.
I look out the window and there's flames.
Ingrid Hibbets and her family were on board American Airlines Flight 1006 as the cabin filled with smoke.
I'm really grateful that this happened on the ground, because if this happened in the air, I don't think I'd be standing here telling you the story.
The flames erupted below the engine of the Boeing 737 after it diverted to Denver. The FAA says the crew reported engine vibrations after taking off from Colorado Springs en route to Dallas with 178 on board. Many passengers, including this man holding a baby, found themselves standing on the wing as smoke billowed around them. Magdi Abdelati shot this video. What is going through your mind as this is happening?
We were scared that the fire will just start to get bigger and bigger.
Former NTSB Chair Robert Sumwalt.
Should I be concerned getting on a flight tonight after all of these issues we've seen the last few weeks?
I fly all the time. I'm not concerned.
People are wondering, myself included.
That's you. It's not me. You can't tell me how to feel. That's you feel like that. I don't even know why he asked him that question. You got to feel how you got to feel, bro. Listen, man, that might have been grand opening, grand closing for me, fam. First and last flight might have been. And my missus, she walk around the house like, yeah, so where we going next? Next? No. And then we keep hearing the name Boeing. Hearing Boeing scares me. I ain't gonna lie to you. With everything that happened with Boeing these past several years, hearing that name it just scares me.
Included at this point, what's going on? Are these red flags to a bigger problem?
I frankly, after having been an aviation safety professional for over 4 decades, I don't see any linkage between these.
Now, American Airlines thanked its crew and first responders for getting everyone to safety. 12 people, the airport says, were transported to area hospitals with minor injuries.
Yeah, that thing gonna spill my drink and I'm gonna be upset. I can see that right now. When he leaned the cup, a piece of me got a little upset. I can't even lie to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is still incredible though at the same time that you're able to do this with your mind. Now, do I have to tell it, okay, either just do I give it one command, like in my mind, like on some Professor X type stuff? Do I just be in my mind, be like, okay, get the cup out the cabinet? Or do I gotta say, open the cabinet, reach in there, grab the, like, if I have to do that with my mind, which already is like an ADHD mind, it's gonna take me an hour to get this one task done. Because while I'm telling them that, another thought is gonna be in there, and it's gonna be like, oh snap, man, we got, she went to the store, she got chips in the cabinet. The arm gonna automatically start trying to get to the chips in the cabinet. I'm gonna be like, oh, you know what go good with that? Man, this drink I just told him to get out of the cabinet, and why he hasn't got it. Like, yeah. Certain minds might not be made for this. Mine might not be.
Late night boys and girls hub role play, Call of Duty, shoot down planes because why not, +1 fat every second, Squid Game. Those are quite adult sounding titles for an 11-year-old.
First, we have no tolerance for any kind of content outside of our guidelines or things. We do follow very closely, generally, game ratings from the countries we operate in. And I think there's a huge balance there, because a lot of 11 and 12-year-olds, I won't name all the other games they play, they are used to playing those types of experiences, and those games are rated for that type of age.
Late night boys and girls hub.
Well, what you got to know is there are a lot of adults that play these games. So parents, you just got to monitor the best you can. You can't just let your kid go off and play it. You know what I'm saying? Like we all like to do, just hand them the game, put the game in their room, just let them go for broke. No. At this point, we got to monitor and see who they're playing with, because a lot of adults play these games, I'm finding out. Roblox, adults play these games. So if your kid is super young, hey, you might not want to let them just have free reign at these games.
In the U.S., meanwhile, the chilling 43-second video emerging tonight in the case of those 2 girls murdered while on a trail, being followed by the man who was later convicted. Here's Alex Perez.
Tonight, 8 years after the murders of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German in Delphi, Indiana, we're now seeing the chilling video recorded by Libby of the final moments with their killer. Key evidence police say helped them capture and convict Richard Allen. Until now, the public had only seen this snippet and heard the murderer's voice. But this 43-second clip, played at trial and just released on a website that supports Allen, reveals the growing panic as Abby asks her best friend if the man following them is still there. You can hear nervous whispering as Libby steps off the trail.
See, this is the path that we are doing.
Abby is seen rushing past Libby.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
You hear heavy breathing and then footsteps before the voice of their killer.
Hi.
Abby and Libby were ordered down that hill, police say, at gunpoint and killed.
And David, defense attorneys for Richard Allen say they did not release that video. Allen has been sentenced to 130 years and is appealing that conviction. David?
All right, Alex Perez. In the U.S., meanwhile,
This one gets me every time. I remember this story, and it just makes me think of my childhood, because we've all walked down. I can't speak for everybody, but I remember walking down train tracks, having fun, skipping rocks, throwing stuff, being down, getting down in the ditch, trying to catch crawfish, all kind of stuff on these train tracks that look just like that, similar. Like off in the cut, round the woods, I think me and my pops went fishing on a train track that was like way up to where we had to literally walk on the train track. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But that could have happened to anybody, man. Y'all be careful on these trails and things in that nature. You be walking all times of the day by yourself. Be careful, because they be lurking around these trails. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Salute the Orange County Fire, man. I think sometimes people forget what the fire department, police department, and other first responders do, man, and how they put their lives on the line every day or every time they go out on a call. Like, salute to them, man. Like, bro, anytime you see them out, man, it don't take for you to say nothing, like, or it don't take for you to just say much. Thank you for what you do. That goes a long way, bro. Because stuff like this, a lot of times we don't see it, but it's taking place in the background and they ain't looking for credit or nothing like that. At least when I worked there and the guys I worked with, we wasn't looking for credit. But it still goes a long way to know you appreciate it. Salute to them.
So unfortunately, I'm going to have to now arrest you on suspicion of keeping somebody in slavery.
This High Court judge has been found guilty of forcing a woman to work as a slave. Lydia Mugambe took advantage of her status by forcing her victim to work as her maid and provide childcare for free, as well as stopping her from holding down a job.
I am a judge in my country. I even have immunity. I am not a criminal.
You've got immunity in this country?
Yes, I don't need to work for me. I didn't come with her. She asked me, because she has worked at my home before. She asked me.
The 49-year-old, who is also a United Nations judge in Uganda, was found guilty of a number of charges, including forcing someone to work and conspiracy to intimidate a witness. She will be sentenced at Oxford Crown Court on the 2nd of May.
So unfortunately, I'm going to have to now...
Hey, how did they find out about that, though? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad. How you gonna have somebody working as your slave? Like, what? And not paying them nothing either? Oh. See, people... Yo, these people out here getting crazy. They getting crazy. They think they can just do anything to somebody. Y'all really ain't ran up against the right ones yet that are really crazy. Some people out here are really crazy too.
We've already gone through the first wave of cuts a few weeks ago. Our funding for reimbursement for Medicaid, which is part of our IDEA, we saw that reduced from $280,000 down to $28,000.
A 90% cut in that money right away.
Absolutely, yes.
In the middle of the school year.
Yes, the services provided through Medicaid went to support our most fragile students, providing occupational therapy, mental health services, physical therapy.
For every $100,000 in funding that you lose, what does that mean for a teacher or staff?
For every $100,000 that we lose, that is the equivalent of one teacher, one full-time teacher, including their benefits.
Another fear, the possibility the school could lose reimbursements for free meals that roughly 80% of their students qualify for.
For some of our most fragile students,
I'll follow you.
This is the only place where they get a hot, nutritious breakfast and lunch. We were so concerned that we partnered with our local grocery store to open a food pantry. We have a food pantry here where we distribute meals once every 2 weeks.
hearing that the U.S.
Now, if you don't think, I don't know which video it was I recorded here recently, and if you don't think that's the school is where some of the students can only get a hot meal, go back to that video where this dude was working at a counter in a seafood place, and the lady comes in to order seafood and talking about how she's down bad on her luck, and here getting king crab legs or whatever, while her kids are only eating at school. You know what I'm saying? Like, the school sometimes is the only place where kids could get their meals. It's scary out here, man. We can't take that away from the kids, bro. Again, they didn't ask to be here and deal with whatever it is they're dealing with. Victim of circumstance.
USDA recently just cut $1 billion of assistance for schools nationwide in terms of accessing fresh food from farmers and other sources. $1 billion. Does that give you pause for thought?
Absolutely. If children are hungry, they cannot learn. And if we are going to rely on highly processed food versus fresh fruits and vegetables, that is alarming. We've already gone.
How are we going to teach about the food groups and then give us nothing that's in the food groups? It's kind of contradictory, wouldn't you say? We can't do that to the kids, bro. It ain't like we can say, well, they need to get out and get a job. They're kids. We can't tell them that. Labor laws. So, like, no, take that somewhere else, man. Make sure the kids have everything they need, if not more. This is our future. They are our future. Like, no, I refuse to see that get done to the kids, man. We can find like some ways to cut in other places. Let's cut in some other places, not the kids.
What I tell you?
First of all, where was that bus going? And was there any kids on board? Parents, what are y'all doing in that situation? You scrolling down TikTok and you see one of the bus, not one of the bus that your kid rides every day to school out here on some Mario Andretti stuff. What you doing? How y'all showing up to the school? Because I know it ain't polite. Seen too many of y'all do it before. Y'all don't show up polite. Y'all get nasty quick. Especially the women. And then whoever driving this car, hey, you ain't no better, Mr. Person that's recording. Driving 10 miles an hour so everybody sees you. No. It's probably why they went around you in a rage. Doesn't make it right. But you out here wilding too. Like, come on now. That aggravates me too. Don't be out here driving slow.
These are the waters just off the Rio Republica resort where Kananki was staying with her friends. You can see even though it's pretty choppy today, there are still plenty of people out there having a good time in the water as this search continues. The search is not just happening looking along the surface of the water. There have been dive teams below looking at coral reefs, and we're told that they're also expanding their search to mangroves that dot this coastline. The latest from the Attorney General in this country is that this remains a full-fledged and open investigation exploring, one, the possibility that she may have accidentally drowned, but also not closing off to the possibility, not denying the possibility that there could have been some foul play. So all of this is still in flux right now, and as we are a week into her disappearance, there is still no sign of her. These are the waters.
It don't make sense. It just don't. Something just don't. You know how you had that feeling, right? Just that feeling where you know something just not right. I feel like they trying to drag this out now and make a true crime documentary or something, man. No, find this girl, bro. Find this girl. Her parents, like, they need some type of closure or answers. Something.
Today we've gained access to one of several sites that's being used as a staging area in the search for Sudiksha Konanki. You can see a lot of the emergency vehicles that are around us, but more importantly, over here are some of the drones that are being used. So they fly these during daylight hours. I'm told that they're using a grid system, essentially charting off certain areas, going box by box on a grid and looking for any sign of her. They've been doing this for several days now, but so far, still no sign of her. But they say they will continue to do this until they're told not to. So again, this is one of several sites where drones are being launched in this search.
NASA and SpaceX will try again tonight to launch the mission that will allow astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams to finally come home. The first launch attempt was called off on Wednesday. NASA says SpaceX fixed a mechanical problem at the launch pad and that the crew is ready to go. Wilmore and Williams have been at the International Space Station for 9 months. They were supposed to be there for only 8 days, but their spacecraft developed problems and flew home without them. NASA and SpaceX.
I feel like we're forcing it now. And I don't want to be the person that says it, but somebody got to say it. I feel like we're forcing it. Like, are we thinking about them? Or has this turned into some type of publicity stunt? To where if Elon gets it done, he can come back, he can beat his chest and everything like that. But no, we don't need to. If it's not right, then don't do it. I hate to see something go wrong. I don't want to see that. I don't even like putting that out in the atmosphere like that, you know? But somebody has to say, listen, if it's not right, don't force it. Please don't force it for the sake of them. They don't look like they're having too bad of a time up there. You know what I mean? I know they want to come home. I would want to come home too, but safely. You know?
Let me get this straight. The very same people who've been trying to force us into buying electric vehicles because they claim that they are better for the environment are the very same people who are now burning down those very same electric vehicles in protest of the guy who makes those electric vehicles, because that guy is showing us how much of our taxpayer money is being wasted by the government. Just give me a second on this one. Hold up. Okay, so the guy makes the electric vehicles that they have been trying to force us into buying, right? I mean, they've been trying to eradicate gas cars. They are the ones who are now burning down fires, emissions, pollution.
He cannot lie, y'all. He got a point. It's all about a perspective. He has a point. You know, just think back probably about a year or so ago, or however long it was. They were predicting 2035 there would be no more gas-powered engines. None. They were trying to eradicate them. They were trying to make it to where you couldn't even buy one or purchase one, or if you found one, you know what I mean? It was like a unicorn. That was the prediction. And everybody was for it at the time. Everybody was for it. People couldn't wait to get their hands on them. They were trying to order them. So he has a point, for real.
There has to be something I'm missing on this one. There's got to be something missing in this equation, because I'm doing the math. And the math that I'm doing seems to not be mathing.
It's estimated at least 6,000 veterans have lost their government jobs over the past month.
Kind of ironic.
Many of them are disabled vets, like Stephen Dow.
And then they said, you have about 5 minutes, pack up your personal things.
Dow served in the Air Force for 20 years. A blast in Afghanistan left him with a broken neck.
He should never have to worry about anything. Anything. If you've never served, how can you even say something different? If you've never served or experienced anything like, you shouldn't be out here talking about what he should receive or what he shouldn't receive. He should receive everything coming to him. Every benefit that's out there available, he should get. And it shouldn't be second guessed at all. dude put his life on the line, and now you got to worry about where his next meal coming up. This is crazy.
Why did you decide to look for a job with the federal government?
Because I want to continue to serve.
He started working as an executive assistant at the Pentagon 9 months ago.
I mean, your review says you have a mastery of technology. Steve sets the standard for productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were good at your job.
I was. Yeah. I take initiative for things. I find things that are broken and try to fix them. And that's ingrained in me from when I was in the military.
Did you vote for President Trump?
I did 3 times.
Why?
Because I thought he was the right person for the job. And I didn't expect this.
So what's your message to him now?
Take a closer look.
I asked President Trump about that the other day.
Are you tracking how many veterans?
That's another thing, people. We got to do better at researching these candidates and really knowing what it entails of the person you're voting for. You got to now.
Have been fired so far, yes, and do you want DOJ to avoid letting them go?
We are, and we take good care of our veterans, so we're watching that very carefully.
But CBS News has found no evidence that the administration is tracking veteran layoffs or trying to prevent them.
It's harmful to the mental health of veterans, right? Some of us have lost friends and family members serving this country. To get treated like this, it's a disservice to their lives. It's a disservice to our service.
It's estimated at least.
I mean, heartbreaking to hear that they should never, they've endured enough mental and physical stress while they were serving. If there's anybody we should make sure is taken care of and isn't stressing, it's the veterans. Man, I hate that y'all have to go through this, bro. You know, I apologize that y'all having to go through this. It's not right.
Mentioned Democratic strategist James Carville. He's out with a bold prediction, saying that the Trump administration and Republican lawmakers will suffer a massive collapse in 30 days. Let's take a look.
What I've said very publicly, the Democrats need to play possum. This whole thing is collapsing. It doesn't need Elizabeth Warren and somebody screaming to pacify some progressive advocacy groups in Washington, which, by the way, I wish these people were just useless. They're actually worse than useless, that they're detrimental. And they never, ever learn to shut up. And so, Dan, this is what I believe. I believe that this administration, in less than 30 days, in the midst of a massive collapse, and particularly a collapse in public opinion. It's going to be easy pickings here in 6 weeks. Just lay back.
So you literally think 30 days to 6 weeks, the Trump administration is effectively going to collapse in terms of public support?
Well, it's collapsing right now. We're in the midst of a collapse. This is the lowest approval, not even close, that any president has ever had at a comparable time. Again, that's a provable fact. So they're not going to be able to get a debt extension. That's pretty clear. I don't think they're going to be able to pass reconciliation, but I'm not sure. But they're going to have to go to Hakeem. And that is going to be the equivalent of stacking arms. It's over.
Well, that is certainly
pronouncement.
That's certainly one view of it. Again, going back to Wide World of News, Halpern also quotes from Heather Cox Richardson's newsletter, her quote of Timothy Snyder, who is a scholar on authoritarianism, who said, "Something is shifting. They are still breaking things and stealing things, and they will keep trying to break and steal. But the propaganda magic around the oligarchical coup is fading. Nervous Musk, nervous Trump." And the point is not that necessarily everything's going to be over in 30 days or that things are going to collapse in 30 days. But Democrats, for the first time since Election Day, and this is what Halpern's Wide World of News is saying, for the first time since Election Day, Democrats are starting to see an opening. And with that opening, a lot of questions, Mika, about who will lead this party.
Right. Joining us now, co-founder, CEO of Axios, Jim Vandehei, and journalist, editor, and author of the newsletter Fresh Hell, available on Substack, Tina Brown.
Still my,
I love it.
Still my favorite topic for a newsletter.
The BBC's Katty Kay is still with us as well. She's the host of the Rest is Politics podcast, which is amazing as well.
Yeah. So, Jim Vandehei, you've actually written about, Axios has actually written about this, which is there's sort of different camps that we have right now for leaders who want to take charge of the Democratic Party and lead the fight against Republicans and Donald Trump. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Carville's spot on in his analysis. Like, he's got to look at where the Democratic Party is right now, right? We also have polls showing Democrats have never been, as a party, more unpopular than they are at this moment. On top of that, they don't have much power, right? If you don't control the Senate, you don't control the House, you don't control the White House, you don't control the courts. There's only so many levers that you can actually pull. So the debate inside the party is, do you accept that some of the things that Donald Trump wants to do directionally might be correct? And that put sort of Governor Whitmer or Governor Paulus in Colorado in that camp, saying, listen, maybe they're with them on tariffs or part of tariffs. Maybe they're with them on the border and conceding that things need to be done and not that every day doesn't need to be a fight. That's one camp. I think the others here, Chris Murphy's a senator from Connecticut, or J.D. Pritzker in Illinois, people who are from very liberal states where they have the freedom to be in sort of the warfare mindset, day in, day out, hour in, hour out. And I think
they could work together on things like the schools, how we talked earlier about the schools, you know, with people. I think them working together on that would be beneficial. Yeah, there needs to be some cuts, but understanding where the cuts can be, that it doesn't affect the children and the people who need some of these programs, food, all of that type of stuff like that. They could work together on that. The border seems to be doing a lot better, right? Continue to let them spearhead that, keep that going. What's the area? These tariffs, right? We need to kind of balance and see, okay, where are we headed? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? How long it's going to take? They could work together on that. I feel as though, like, a lot of this stuff, if they work together, you know, but also the Democratic Party, like you said, who's going to emerge as the front runner? Who? I haven't heard a name yet.
That is the big fight. I think we know the way politics works is Trump's going to live or die based on his performance. Like, tell me what inflation looks like in a month. Tell me what the jobless rate looks like. Tell me where wages are, and tell me how much chaos flows from some of the decisions of the first 30 days. And I'll tell you kind of where his public standing is and whether or not Republicans will break. But so far, there's zero sign. You saw it. You had it this morning. The idea that no Republican will speak up and say, hey, maybe Vladimir Putin's a thug. Maybe he's a dictator. Maybe he's been hell-bent for his entire life, starting at the KGB to destroy your nation. Maybe he's a
That's another thing. Where are we at with that? They were speaking ceasefire. You were hearing that all throughout. And then when Zelensky came to the table, Putin hit him with a bomb. Like, it was like, whoa. Now I'm seeing headlines of Zelensky talking about if the U.S. gets involved, then they'll have enough. Like, the ceasefire talks are kind of simmering down. What happened?
You could argue whether or not we should be there or not there. You can't argue like, oh, he started the war when someone invaded me. And yet you don't have a single Republican who says, hey, that's crazy. That's counter everything we've ever believed in our careers. And I think that speaks to the power Trump will have until those poll numbers go way the hell down.
Well, yeah, until if inflation goes up or those poll numbers go down, the economy goes down. Exactly. I think you're right. I don't see that happening within 30 days. But you are right. I mean, Vladimir Putin has seen the United States of America as an enemy his entire life. And yet here we are, not a single Republican willing to stand up and speak out aggressively against what President Trump has been saying. You know, Tina, your latest piece in Fresh Hell has this line, and I do agree with you, because I have noticed that since the election, most Democratic leaders have been stunned. One real exception to that has been Rahm Emanuel, who time and time again, with his language, strips things down to their bare essentials. And if let's say he's talking about DEI, or let's say he's talking about trans athletes, or talking about some of these hot button issues that Democrats fumble around on, Rahm, he'll have a line for it, which is the Democratic Party is popular when they're the party of acceptance. They are unpopular when they're a party of authoritarianism on these social issues, or they're the party of advocacy, shoving all of these issues in Americans' faces, even when they don't want to. Acceptance.
That's going to be the biggest issue for the Democratic Party, which it has been, and I think that's where Trump kind of gained leverage and a lot of ground over some of the things that people believe in and don't believe in, and things that you're putting in people's faces and you're not. All of that stuff there is where they've got to figure out how to maneuver throughout the times and find a balance, because not everybody's into those things or are accepted into a lot of those things that are quote unquote being deemed as progressive moving forward, the times that we are in. A lot of people are not there yet. So I think that's where a lot of the ground was lost for the Democratic Party.
Yes, stern advocacy, no.
Absolutely right. I mean, God, how much do I love James Carville, by the way. But Rahm, he knows how to communicate. And he actually says, the messenger is the message, because Democrats like to go on about, we have to get the message right. Well, the messenger has to be right, too. And Rahm is able to speak with clarity, which is so missing from the kind of mothballed, euphemistic verbiage, that the Democrats tend to speak in. And he says, Democrats tend to defend they defend the process instead of the results. And it's absolutely true. I mean, much though I love Elizabeth Warren, the sight of her sort of parading around with a sign saying, save our CPB, it's like, what's the next thing? Save our IRS. I mean, this acronyms and sort of, it's lame. It's lame. And Rahm is never lame. He has this amazing expertise, which is, of course, wildly out of fashion to have any expertise. But when you think that he was, chief of staff, that he was, ambassador to Japan, that he was mayor of Chicago, the guy has he's a practitioner. He's not an advisor, although he has been. He's a practitioner. He's been in the throng and the throes of the real sort of heat of politics. And he understands what really works and what doesn't. He knows how to communicate. And yet, he's also brilliant. So I think we need people like him who intellectually top-notch, but who are communicating in ways that people can understand with clarity.